ॐ न कर्मणा न प्रजया धनेन त्यागेनैके अमृतत्वमानशुः परेण तापं निहितं गुहायां विभ्राजले तद्यतयो विशन्ति वेदांत विज्ञान सुनिश्चितार्था संन्यासयोगाद्यतयः शुद्धसत्त्वाः ते ब्रह्मलोकेषु परान्तकाले परामृता परिमुच्यन्ति सर्वे दहरं विपापं परमैष्मभूतं यत् पुण्डरीकं परमध्यसक्तस्थम् तत्रापि दहरं गगनं विशोकस्तस्मिन् यदन्तस्तदुपासितव्यम् यो वेदादौ स्वरः यो वेदान्ते च प्रतिष्ठितः तस्य प्रकृतिलीनस्य यः परः स महेश्वरः। ओम श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय।
ओम 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 सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्।
अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः।
तावरं जंगमं व्याप्तं यत्किञ्चित् सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। चिन्मयं व्यापि यत्सर्वं त्रैलोक्यं सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः।
सर्वश्रुति शिरोरत्ना विराजिता पदाम्बुज वेदान्तां पूज सूर्यो य तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। चैतन्य शाश्वतो शान्तो व्योमातीतो निरञ्जना बिन्दुनादकलातीत तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः।
ज्ञान शक्ति समारूढ़ तत्वमाला विभूषितः भुक्ति मुक्ति प्रदाता च तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। अनेक जन्म संप्राप्त कर्म बंध विदाहिने आत्मज्ञान प्रदानेन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः।
शोषणं भवसिन्धोश्च यापनं सारसम्पद गुरोपादोदकं सम्यक् तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। न गुरोरधिकं तत्त्वं न गुरोरधिकं तप तत्त्वज्ञानात् परं नास्ति तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः।
मन्नाथ श्री जगन्नाथ मद्गुरु श्री जगद्गुरु मदात्मा सर्वभूतात्मा तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। गुरुरादिरानाधीश गुरु परम दैवतम गुरु परतरं नास्ति तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। त्वमेव माता च पिता
त्वमेव बन्धुः
सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव। Welcome Swamiji and all the three classes. So today we have three Devi groups of satsang together. Trupti Vyasa's class, Shilpa Mavani's and my class. So today's topic is why have faith in God in COVID times. Now we hand over the mic to Swamiji to give us the lovely information on and advice on why have faith in God and guidance.
ओम श्री तपोवन परम गुरवे नमः। ओम श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्म विद्वरम्। Hari Om and my salutations to all of you. First of all, congratulations to Trupti ji, Beena ji, and
Shilpa ji.
who?
Shilpa Mavani.
Shilpa ji, yes. Sorry, I forgot. 3 classes are there. So congratulations to all the Sevikas. Some of you have been taking this class for quite some time, and so you have continued to keep the members inspired, and you have not made the class Ekameva Dvitiya Brahma. The duality is maintained. Otherwise, everybody else disappears and you alone remain. So you have continued to keep them inspired. So one is congratulations to them who have kept them all inspired. And also Trupti ji has started a new class. So congratulations to her also for initiating one more class and inspiring new people with this beautiful knowledge. I also appreciate the efforts taken by everyone to learn the chanting and to express their gratitude to the Lord and to the Guru Parampara through this sadhana of chanting that they have done today. I'm sure a lot of preparation went into that. 1 or 2 suggestions I have for improvement are, in the Guru Stotram, I heard some of you chanting as Tasmai Shri Guru Ve Namaha. So that is a wrong pronunciation because it is Gu Ra Ve, not Guru Ve. Gurave. So Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. That's the correct pronunciation. So next time you chant, be alert on that. And next year when I come back to do this Devi group chanting, the Devi group session, no papers. One should memorize. 2-3 verses only are there. No? Each one is chanted 2-3 verses, not even the entire one. Why memorizing is important, Because when we sit in contemplation, we have withdrawn our attention from the world outside, from the body, from the breath, from the mind, and we are to contemplate on the words to discover ourselves. Now, if we don't know those words, of course, you can learn them in any language also. It's not necessary only in Sanskrit. If you learn the English meaning and then contemplate, that also is fine. But Sanskrit as a language, the words have a certain vibratory powers, effect. It does help in many ways. through the phonetics of it also. So when we memorize, it helps us in our contemplation, meditation. Otherwise, we again have to open the eyes and see, then the entire process of withdrawal has been wasted. The Purna Kumbha chanting especially is very, very powerful. It is Upanishad mantras. They are Vedic mantras. And this entire path of realization as well as the goal is there in that much, in that one Purna Kumbha Stuti, in the Purna Kumbha mantras. And so if we learn that and we reflect on the meaning of that, it need not be chanted only during the welcoming of a sannyasi. It can also be used in one's meditation. It's mainly meant for that. So it will help a lot. So next year, keep that. You have 1 full year to learn, memorize. And if you are up to it, I can give you a little more challenging task. I can keep a bowl with me and I can pick which verse who has to chant, and you can chant. If you are up for that challenge, it will be good. Anyway, I don't want to scare you.
Yes, Swamiji, next year.
Very good. Very good. Chalega. Go step by step, no problem. Next year you just memorize specific verses. After that we will do, what is it called? What do they call that? Lottery?
Raffle, or I don't know. Lottery.
So our topic is, why have faith in God during COVID crisis? The topic is worded very interestingly. It can mean to deny existence of God also, or it can mean that why should I strengthen my faith in God in COVID crisis? Either ways it can work. So if somebody says, in COVID, so many people are suffering, so many people have passed on, and this is a very unprecedented pandemic. I don't believe if God existed, then why did all these things happen? Is that a part of the question? Or what is the main intent of the question? Then I can take it up appropriately.
You have
Anyone, you gave me the topic, so let me know if you have any specific thought behind that, then we can work on that.
So, for Swamiji, people who have not lost anyone, rather because of COVID, we may have continued having faith. But when we see others, we feel that, it is possible that they will feel that why has it happened to us or whatever, in this COVID time. Why have we got caught in this,
Okay.
Swamiji, I had one aspect that you can cover is that today we are seeing so much of sorrow, death around us. And still to develop that ability to see God's hand in everything that is happening, whether it is good, bad, whatever. I think that is what we need to develop, that God's hand is still there in everything that is happening. So that will to develop that faith,
Okay.
Develop the Shraddha, Swamiji.
Right.
In spite of the grief.
Right. So fundamental point is very clear that there are two different standpoints. One aspect is to understand very clearly. We cannot say that because COVID crisis happened, so many suffered, I don't believe in God. It is like saying because an accident happened, I don't believe in petrol. Now, petrol is only the power that runs the vehicle. Who guides that vehicle is the driver. The driver takes the car to the destination. Same way, the Supreme Creator creates the whole universe, and as human beings, we have been given specifically the buddhi, the free will. How we steer our life is in our hands as human beings. In any other life, we don't have that capability. There we only have to exhaust karmas. But in human life, we have the buddhi, we have self-awareness, we have vivek, we can discriminate. Where we lead our life is a moment by moment choice that we have. Irrespective of what past karma we have done, I have a choice how to face it right now. That is the beauty and the glory of the human life. So if there is a pandemic and there is sorrow, there is suffering, there is difficulties, there are restrictions, there is economic challenges, so many things are there, there is no doubt. But to say that because of that I don't believe in God, then our Shraddha is very shaky. We are not using the right approach to develop faith, and the valid means is not being used for strengthening faith. If we only look at the incidents happening in life and determine our faith, then it is very, very shaky and flimsy. So from one standpoint, which is our choice, it is how we respond, it is our freedom. And we are seeing that also. There are many people who have recovered even from COVID. 102-year-old person, 108-year-old person, they have fought back and they have recovered. And there are young people who have passed on. There may be biological factors for it, there is no doubt. But the point to understand is there is a mental freedom also, the choice, and that makes a big difference. So from one level, the freedom and the choice is in our hands. And so we can choose to strengthen our faith in God in these times, or we can choose to deny the existence of God or weaken our faith in God. From a higher standpoint, if we say that COVID was sent by God, then everything is sent by God. All blessings are also there only from Bhagwan, only they come. At those times, many times we say, no, this is my hard work I have created, this is, so much of effort that I have put, so I'm enjoying this life and, my punya karma. At that time, we don't acknowledge the presence of God, but when difficult things happen, then suddenly we say, no, God does not exist. If he existed, then why these things should happen? So that standpoint is not a consistent standpoint. We cannot be selective. Either we say everything is God's will, or we make choices every moment in our life and know that those choices are what take our life ahead. Now, once we understand this, our Shraddha in either case has to increase only. From a spiritual standpoint, I'm saying, because when I have to exercise my choice, it is faith that will bring maximum strength in our mind. Why do I need faith in life? I need faith for things which are not visible. Do I need faith for things which I already know, or I can feel, or I can experience? That which is imperceptible, for that Shraddha is required. Does anybody require Shraddha in the fact that there is this nose? I have a nose. Do you need to have faith in that? No, because you know, you can see the nose. There is clear knowledge. We feel anger. Do we need to have faith that I feel anger, or do we feel anger? We feel it. Or we see somebody angry, we know this person is angry. So what is known in that Shraddha is not required. What is unknown in that Shraddha is required. Now, why I'm going through what I'm going through, I don't know my past karma. So I must have Shraddha in the karma, law of karma. That there is a certain cause and effect principle that is working in this world. And based on that cause and effect principle, I see that if there is a mango seed which is sown, a mango comes out. If there is an egg, there is a chicken that manifests. We see the cause and effect. It's not that mango seed is put and, coconut grows. It's not random. There's a lot of cause and effect, cohesiveness, all that which is there in this universe. So if I am going through something, it is not random. I may not know the cause for it today, and there are many important reasons why I don't know the cause. You know, some people say, if I knew my past, then at least I would have been a better person right now. Honestly, you would have been worst if we knew our past, because it would be terrible. Many people say, because we don't know the past, we can't learn the lessons properly, so we may repeat the mistakes again. That is not true. So many people know smoking and drinking is bad, but they still drink, no? They still smoke. It's not that knowledge of something only will make me better. And if I don't know, then I will not be better. When I don't know my past, there are certain things which are good, so that I am not conditioned by those memories. I have learned the lessons from there, or the impressions have been created, but specific memories of those experiences is not required. So I must have Shraddha in that law of karma, that there is a law of karma which is functioning. And if I'm going through something today, there must be some reason. There are so many people who are not affected by COVID. There are many people who took all preventions, precautions, but still they got affected by COVID. So it is very difficult to understand why what happens specifically to every individual. And that's why Shraddha is required, that there is a law of karma that is functioning. There is no unfair treatment or unjust result that anybody has to face. From the cosmic standpoint, the law of karma never fails. Human beings may do a lot of corruption, and human beings can twist the system, human beings can do anything, and they go through suffering for themselves and others. But cosmic justice, there is no way to corrupt Bhagwan. You can't say that today I will offer 108 golden plated coconuts and so I will get some better result. Nothing happens like that. Bhagwan is not, you can't buy Bhagwan. So there is a cosmic justice going on. So from that standpoint, I must have Shraddha, so that this question, why me, why me, why me, doesn't bother. I will shift from why me to how I have to handle it. Instead of why, the question will shift to how. For that, Shraddha plays a very, very big role. Because most of the time we keep victimizing ourselves for anything. Please remember, it's not just COVID. COVID is an exceptional situation. Is it not that we ask this question, why me, for so many other things? Why am I born in this particular way, in this particular family, in this particular country, in this particular gender? So many times we keep asking. So that why me keeps on bothering us, because we always feel that if I was not this, I was someone else, then life would have been so much better. So if I want to make the best of what I have today, I have to make the best choice. Then Shraddha is most important. That there is a law of karma. Shraddha can be in that. Shraddha can be in the implementer of law of karma, who is Bhagwan. Bhagwan is called Karma Phala, Karma Adhyaksha and Karma Phala Data. The one who has given us the capability to do karma, and when we do karma, one who gives us the result as per the law of karma, without any favoritism, without any partiality, impartial deliverance of justice with compassion, that is Bhagwan. Shivji has 3 eyes. 3 eyes of Shivji symbolize what? One eye is the eye of objectivity, which is karma. Other eye is the eye of compassion, that is karuna. So objectivity and compassion go together. Like a mother may punish the child, but it is out of feeling of love and compassion for the well-being of the child. So objectivity without compassion is absolutely hard-hearted. merciless. And only compassion and no objectivity will lead to complete chaos and anarchy in the world. Anybody will do anything and get away in the name of compassion. Both must go together, hand in hand. And as parents, we do that or not. Parents will have both objectivity and compassion to bring up their child. It's not only one. The same thing applies to Bhagwan as Ishvara. How much more compassion and objectivity Bhagwan has. We still have attachment to towards our children. Bhagwan has no attachment, yet full of compassion, infinite love. Third eye of Shivji, of course, is intuition, self-knowledge. I won't go into that today. So when we have the faith in Bhagwan, even the difficult times, it will give us strength. In fact, the devotee's faith increases because of these difficult times. Did Prahlad ever question the existence of God or doubt that will God protect me? He didn't do that. His father was trying to kill him. Did he go to the UN and file a human rights petition saying, I am a victim of child abuse and my father is only trying to kill me, now please protect me? He didn't do any of that. He had Shraddha in Bhagwan. He went through. You may say, oh, that is Puranic story. Look at the lives of so many other saints and great masters. Mirabai, poison was given to her. Did she ever say that, I love Krishna so much, Krishna is my beloved, I left everything for Krishna and look at this, my situation, how pathetic, poison is being given to me? No. Eknath Maharaj, 108 times that Pathan spat on him, but he never got angry. So world may be unjust to us, things may be unfair in our life, so-called unfair, but the devotee does not lose faith. Devotee strengthens the faith because of this. That Bhagwan is there with me at all times, especially in difficult times. All of you know that famous story, no? Two pairs of impressions, foot impressions on the beach. One was the Jiva, one was the Lord. And when the Jiva is introspecting in difficult times, there is only one footprint, one person's footprint. So the Jiva got very upset, saying, in the difficult times you ditched me, Bhagwan, where were you? He said, look carefully, whose footprint was it? It was my footprint, I was carrying you. Is it not true that even today, with all the COVID crisis, etc., Bhagwan is protecting us or not? We may say, no, Swami, I don't believe in all that. What do we have a cure for COVID? We don't have. We have only vaccine shot which can prevent, which can boost our immunity to fight. We don't have a cure for COVID. If we have Shraddha, our mind will be more at peace, more stronger, our immunity will become better. Point one. Point two, even the natural immunity of the body without vaccine, also the immunity of the body, is it not work of Bhagwan? When we learn in the 15th chapter in the Gita, Bhagwan is in the heart of all. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishtaha. The power that beats the heart is the Lord's power. And he is in the stomach also. Aham vaishvanaro bhutva praninam deham ashritaha. I am in the stomach of everyone as the metabolic fire. MBR, nowadays the dietitians, they measure what is your MBR, metabolic rate. That determines your age, not your physical age. Physical age can be something, but your MBR is this, then you are this many years old. So physically you may be 50 years old, but if your metabolic age rate is this much, then you are as good as 40-year-old. If you drink tea and coffee and you are still able to sleep at night, that means your metabolic rate is very good. So who is that? What is that metabolic rate? In the dead body, metabolic rate is there. The presence of Bhagwan, that this entire equipment is functioning. So is it not the Lord protecting? And now somebody says, but what about those who passed away? Bhagwan didn't protect them. our criteria of measuring Bhagwan's protection is terrific. Huh? If somebody lives, that means Bhagwan is protecting. If somebody dies, Bhagwan is not protecting. How can that be the criteria to know God's protection? That person's karma got over, that person dropped the body, the person is moving ahead in evolution. For us, it may be difficult to accept because the person died. That is our attachment. Bhagwan's protection is there even with that person. Because the person is moving ahead in evolution. Came to exhaust, let us say 1 lakh karmas, 1 lakh karmas got exhausted. Now going ahead. What will happen if you reach your destination? Suppose you take a flight and you go somewhere. Leh Ladakh, right? Somebody went to Ladakh. You take a flight, go to Ladakh. You will sit in the flight only? Or will you get down? Will you say that, no, I've been in this flight for so long, it is so amazing, you know. I want to be sitting in this flight only. No, you will move on. No? You will vacate the place. Now, if you vacate the place, can somebody say, it's so sad, you know, this person got down in Ladakh. Oh, it is very, very sad. Very unfortunate, you know, this person got down in Ladakh. Arey, the person was meant to get down in Ladakh. We came for that only. Why did we come here? We came here to exhaust our karmas. And exhausting our karma, we are looking forward or not. Now tell me, if the person doesn't die, so many other unfulfilled desires of that person will not get fulfilled, no? So is it not that person's evolution is going to happen in future? So the person has to drop the body. That's why the best example given is in the Gita for death is changing of the clothes. If you want to go to play tennis, will you go with a nice Gujarati sari or a Kanjivaram silk sari to go and play tennis? You'll change, no? Because you want to play tennis, you will be in that sportswear. You want to go to a disco. How will you go to a disco? You will wear proper clothes for the disco, where you look more cool, and then go and dance there. Each equipment is meant for a certain type of enjoyment or experience. So in this human equipment, certain experiences we have gone through. So if that person has passed on, it is because that person's karma is over. If that person had to die because of COVID, that person has gone because of COVID only. Are there not many other deaths happening? Even right now, without COVID, there are many other people dying, no? In many other ways. Before COVID also people used to die. So each one goes through their karma. So the Shraddha in Bhagwan gives us security and strength that whatever is happening by the law of karma. So I am getting what I deserve. How to respond to that? That free will also I have today, which will determine my future. And I will never get something that I don't deserve. That is the Shraddha in law of karma. See, if people don't have faith in God, forget that. At least have faith in law of karma. That there is justice here and there is things which are happening as per law of cause and effect. At least in that much one should have faith. Because if one doesn't have faith, see the mind which doesn't have faith. It will be very, very difficult to explain many things in life, and that person's mind will go through many agitations. Person may become bitter, negative, pessimistic, depressed. Many things can happen because there is nothing to anchor. You know, in the Gita, Bhagwan gives that example. A boat without a boatman gets tossed in the ocean and gets destroyed. In this ocean of samsara, the mind is our boat. Who is the boatman? Guru is the boatman, or our buddhi, which has Shraddha, is the boatman. Like the chariot, without a charioteer, will not be able to reach the destination. Same way, what is the anchor in this continuous change in this ocean of samsara? Our Shraddha is only our anchor, nothing else. In good times, Shraddha helps us to surrender more and increase our bhakti. In difficult times, Shraddha helps us to hold on and not get carried away by the negative circumstance. And is it not that at that time I need maximum Shraddha? When this pandemic is there, it is at that time that we need maximum immunity or not? And everybody is taking immunity booster pill and that, what is that, kadha, and exercise karo, so jao, do this, do that. Why immunity boost, immunity boost? Why? Because now extra immunity is required. Because the situation is like that. So body requires physical extra immunity. Then in difficult circumstance, the mind requires extra immunity, which is Shraddha. And please remember, it's not blind faith. Many of you have studied Vedanta, so you know the Shraddha is never blind. Shraddha is always based on proper understanding and experiential proof. Gurudev's definition of Shraddha is belief reinforced with conviction is faith. In the beginning, it is only a belief. But when it is reinforced with conviction, how does that conviction come? Through proper logical thinking. Why do we say have Shraddha in law of karma? Because we are seeing the working of cause and effect. If there is an effect, which is action, there is a cause, which is the desire. And the result, if it is the effect, there is a cause. Action is the cause for it. So there is a proper functioning of law of cause and effect. That's the logic. And then in daily life, we see that. So nothing happens by will randomly, just like that. So now my belief has become conviction with logical understanding, experiential proof. That will become faith. Belief reinforced with conviction is faith. And that faith is a source of tremendous security. Honestly, there is no other greater source of strength and security than Shraddha. Now, Swamiji, we have enough money. Money makes us secure. Money will not be able to buy one extra minute of life. Last year, there was one quote which was going around. I forgot. There was one person in London whose quote it was. Very rich person. And that quote was to the effect of saying this, that you may have a lot of wealth. I had a lot of wealth and I could not buy one extra minute. So value what you have. Express your love to the people who are there with you. Because when will be the last moment of life, one doesn't know. So I may have financial security with that money, which has its own place. I may have some social security. I may have physical security in terms of house, etc. But all these by themselves are temporary or not. So much money we have and we have invested, and suddenly what happens? Scam. All money gone. How many people are they not struggling because of the scams of other people? Lifetimes of earning they have put in some cooperative banks and now they are struggling. Where is that money? So we can depend on these things only for some time. The real source of strength is our inner faith in Bhagavan, in the law of karma. And during these times as COVID, it is that faith which will help us. It will help the living in terms of even body, as I said, immunity, strength, all that comes when the mind is quieter. When the mind is stressed out, immunity gets affected. That is very well known today. The choices we make also can become more objective because of the faith that we have. Emotionally also with people, when we have Shraddha, we are more anchored. We are able to help people emotionally. Are we not seeing today that because of COVID and lockdown, etc., there is a lot of clashes in relationships because people are seeing their rough sides more right now because their interaction with each other has increased so much more. Earlier, they used to go out, go to school, go to office, go here, there, travel. It was not so much. Today, it is so much. Mental health issues are on the rise or not? Why is that mental health issue such a big issue today? One of the main reasons is we have lost the anchoring in life. Anchoring can be in values, anchoring can be in higher purpose, anchoring can be in law of karma, anchoring can be in God, in surrender, in acceptance. There are many of these. But when none of these anchors I'm using, because my view of life is very shallow, what I see alone is real. And I don't even discriminate properly. Then I get carried away by so many vested interests. Then I feel, what is all this? There is no justice, there is nothing fair in this world, become pessimistic, lose the plot completely. Because what we look around, is it not true that human being has messed up royally this entire creation? Destroyed oneself, destroyed the planet also. Think about it. Instead of human being questioning existence of God, God should question that I have no faith in human being anymore. This fellow is ruining my creation. I think Rabindranath Tagore said, to the effect, he said one very nice line. He said, every child that is born is a guarantee that God has not yet lost faith in man. To that effect, it's not exact quote, but that's the point he wanted to make. Every child that is born is proving the fact that God has not yet lost faith in man. That he is the best of the creation and the man can do great. And is it not true that even in this crisis, how many people have done human service to people who are suffering? So many frontline workers, so many volunteers, NGOs, how many people have done their best to serve the humanity? So where is our focus? If our Shraddha is there, our focus will be on the positive. If Shraddha is not there, focus will go on the negative. And there is enough negative to think about. Overlooking the entire positive, there is enough negative to think about. Is it not unbelievable that they have said that not a single death has happened because of the lack of oxygen? What a stupid conclusion is that, because each state has given such tampered figures. No death has happened because of lack of oxygen. Come on, this is so ridiculous. Because human beings have tampered like anything. We have destroyed the planet. Wuhan virus happened. Are people still changing their ways of living? SARS came and went, MERS came and went, Wuhan, this COVID is still there. Are we changing our eating pattern? We still want to eat non-vegetarian food. Where choices are available, there also we want to eat non-vegetarian only still. And justify that also, saying that it is a personal choice, it's all a matter of choice. Tomorrow let somebody kill your child and eat because it's their choice. Then you will be able to accept that. How can we kill the animals and say it is my choice? For 2 inches of our tongue, we are doing what kind of injustice on animals and the birds? It's terrible, it's pathetic. Virus jumping anyway happens from human to animal in many ways, but food is one of the major ways. In Delhi, they found one bird flu case now in human being. But human being doesn't want to change. And the human being will still have arrogance on that. I don't believe in God, because if God was there, COVID would not have happened. If human is there, because of that only COVID has happened. Is it not that they have a very, very strong leaning towards the lab leak theory? The gain of function, where the virus has been manipulated, there is a very strong evidence, there is a very strong leaning towards that. So human beings, we have destroyed it all. So Bhagwan should actually say, I don't have faith in this human being anymore. And he should take charge of the creation, then many things will happen. One simple way to bring balance to this earth is what, remove human being from this planet. Earth will heal automatically. Kuch nahi karna hai aur. One, we have destroyed Earth. Now we are going to Mars. Now destroy that also. One by one, find all the planets, destroy them. So our Shraddha is very, very important. It plays a big role, especially when we face difficult circumstances. So now how do we develop that Shraddha? That Shraddha, as I said, comes from, first and foremost, the means to develop Shraddha is the satsang, because it cannot happen without satsang. Regular satsang all of you are doing through the study group, studying the scriptures, refining our understanding based on the scriptures, having a proper vision. That is the first means to develop Shraddha. Because Shraddha requires, as I said, logic. And that logic, proper logic is there in the scriptures. It helps us to overcome our false notions. Because everybody says happiness is outside. Scriptures say, no, happiness is inside. It is our true self. Everyone says, do what you feel like doing. Scriptures say, no, attain self-mastery. Everybody else will say, there is no God. Scriptures will say, of course, there is God. Everyone will want us to believe, I am this body, mind, intellect. Scriptures say, you are Parabrahma Tattva. You are not this body, mind, intellect. So today our vision is very clouded with many wrong notions. That has to become clear. You know, in the car, when we are traveling, if there's a lot of rain, then what do we use? The wiper has to be used to see clearly. Our life is like that. Continuously our vision is getting clouded. We have to use the wiper of the scriptures to keep clearing, to see clearly. So first means of developing Shraddha is this: to study the scriptures, to be in company of people who are having this deeper vision. Company makes a big difference. Second, our Shraddha increases when we learn to reflect on subtler topics. Buddhi becomes sharp when we reflect on subtler topics. So when we say happiness is not in the world outside, happiness is in our true nature. What is the logic behind that? We have to start identifying. Oh, if happiness was in the world outside, everybody who is engaging in it would have experienced happiness. You know, one person was there, his friend was a psychiatrist. So this person A went to meet the psychiatrist. The psychiatrist said, let us go. I have to take a round in the ward and then we will come back and I will spend some time with you. So they went. Now in that ward, there are different types of people. Somebody is scratching the head, somebody is talking to himself, somebody is just quietly staring out of the window, or somebody is pulling their hair. Different types of people going through different mental challenges. One person was holding a photograph and this person was saying, Lulu, my dear Lulu, I love you, Lulu. So this friend asked the psychiatrist, what happened to him? So he said, you know, this person was in love with a girl called Lulu and now he couldn't marry her and now he has gone mad. So the friend thought how sad it is, you know. And as they went ahead, after a few beds, they found another person who was having this photo of Lulu and he was beating on his forehead, Arey Lulu. So he said, what happened to him? He said, that man was mad because he married Lulu. This man is mad because that man was mad because he couldn't marry Lulu. He is mad because this man married Lulu. If happiness was there in Lulu, whoever married Lulu should have been happy. I'm not saying every marriage results in landing up in a hospital, but I'm just saying that if happiness was out there, there would not be any problem at all. Only temporary pleasure is there out. That also is cooked up in our mind. It is not even there much. It is all in the head. Some people love dark chocolate. Some people hate it, saying how bitter it is. How can you love it? So many people who are alcoholics, they just drink. One lady, she caught the husband and brought him from the police station, saying, "Arey, what did you do? Why did you have to drink so much that you went to that? You had to be taken to police station. What a stupid fellow you are." You know what he replied? He said, "You don't know, there was a big problem." He said, "What problem?" I had lost the cap of that bottle. So I had to drink the whole bottle. Now this fellow landed up in the hospital. There are some people who are like that, who are so addicted to alcohol. And there are other people who don't like it at all, saying, "What is this? You drink it, you will spit it out first, you will not like it." No, it will grow on you. Slowly you will develop the taste for it. Very good. So if happiness was out there, where would we? We would be happy with so many things, but it is all in our head. So when we analyze some of these things and we read the scriptures, our Shraddha in the scriptures increases. Because we must have, to reach a destination, like today we use Google Maps. What is the map in our hand? Our map is Shraddha. Our map is a Shastra. And once we read the Shastra, then we know what is right, what is wrong. So the anchoring in life must be either in God or in the scriptural knowledge properly, or in both also, that is fine. So Shraddha comes with satsang. Shraddha comes with study of the scriptures, reflecting on it, seeing the applicability of it and the benefit of it. Then the third aspect, Shraddha comes by reflecting on experience, our experience as well as other people's experience. Is it not that so many times in life, when we go through certain experiences, we react, we get upset, we get angry, this should not have happened, that should not have happened. But after a few days, few years, when we look back, we feel, "Arey, good it happened like that. Otherwise, we would have been in much greater trouble." So when we reflect upon our own life and we look back, we develop faith that time I reacted so much, but I see the benefit of it today, that if that situation had not happened, today I would not be in this position. So in today's situation, what I'm going through, I may feel like reacting, but let me hold on to equanimity, to balance. My faith will help me to do that. And the more equanimity and balance I have, my faith will become more. It will strengthen. Gratitude is one more way to develop Shraddha, to express gratitude. And please remember, here I'm talking about gratitude straight away to Bhagwan. You are all study group members, so I'm not going to mince words, because many people, they just feel grateful. They don't want to involve God in that process. They want to use gratitude as an emotion, which may be fine for some people. There's no issue with that. But as members of the study of scriptures, we must know clearly that gratitude is an emotion that arises in our heart for all the things we have received, positive, negative, blessings, challenges. And when we express that gratitude towards the Creator, the intelligent cause, we build a bond with that Supreme Lord. Otherwise, we may be grateful saying this happened, and we may say, "Thank you, universe." Who is that universe? What is that universe? It's just very abstract. Abstract things cannot anchor emotion. Emotion gets anchored when there is something which is easy to relate to and connect to, and which is where the understanding of God is important. I may believe in God as with form, or I may believe God in the sound symbol as Om, or I may believe God as Nirgun Nirakar, whatever it may be. But I believe in Vedanta. When I study Vedanta, and I say that yes, there is Ishvara who is the intelligent cause of the universe. My gratitude to that Ishvara, who created the universe, who created me, who created this entire system, who is ensuring that all this happens properly. This helps us to develop the Shraddha towards Bhagavan. Fifth way to develop Shraddha is, if you look at Prakriti Through Prakriti, we will develop Shraddha in Ishvara, because Prakriti is power of that Supreme Lord. That's why in the Upanishads it is said, Bhishasmad Vata Pavate. This wind is blowing out of fear of that Lord. Sun is rising out of the fear of that Lord. Agni is giving heat and light because of fear of the Lord. Indra is giving rain because of fear of the Lord. And even death is doing its job because of fear of the Lord. There, of course, the word is fear used there. But the point to understand is there is a higher power behind this Prakriti. Those who say, I don't believe in God, I believe in nature. Nature is only inert laws, inert powers. Who is that intelligent cause behind that nature? Who ensures that this is going on beautifully? Suppose this phone is there. Now the phone is working so well. Do you deny the existence of the phone making company because the phone is working so well? That because the phone is working so perfectly and so beautifully, there is nothing called the phone making company? No, we exactly say the opposite. No, because it is functioning so well, there is a company which has made it. There is an intelligence behind it which has made it. The scientific laws are functioning so well. There is a system which has been put in place by an intelligent creator. So if I look at the Prakriti itself, I will get Shraddha. External Prakriti also and internal Prakriti also, that my body also is functioning because there is a higher power. So every day before I eat food, when I remember Bhagwan, I am developing Shraddha. Every morning when I wake up and I express gratitude to Bhagwan that I am alive, there is one more day I have got. That expresses our love for the Lord and Shraddha increases. Our rishis, they gave us so many ways to connect to that divine to strengthen our Shraddha. So many festivals are there to strengthen our Shraddha. Today we have made the festivals, unfortunately, we think, oh, it's all rites, rituals, social customs, meeting, gathering, people, this, that. We don't like these things. No. That's because people have fed a lot of wrong notions in our head. Because they want to systematically destroy our culture. So many indigenous cultures across the world have been destroyed because of these nuts who want to impose their culture on everybody, thinking that is the supreme. Who gave them the authority to impose their culture on anyone? That this is the best culture in the world. Let all multiple cultures thrive. What is your problem? But no, we are the supreme. So festivals are ways to strengthen Shraddha. And now it will come. So many will come. Ganesh Chaturthi, Shravan will come now. Then Ganesh Chaturthi, then Janmashtami, Navratri, Deepavali, continuously. And we are funny people. We say all these are days of wastage, and economic productivity is going down. How much productivity is boosted because of festivals? Do you know? It's amazing. How many people get employment? How many people get their livelihood because of these festivals? Plus, they are means for us to remember there is a divine supreme creator. What is my bond with that creator? How strong have I built my bond? And of so many forms which are there, which is my form that I love the most? So festivals are a way to develop Shraddha. Our daily routine itself is a way to develop Shraddha. What do our Bal Vihar Sevikas teach the children? First thing to do in the morning when we get up is what? Karagre vasate Lakshmi, Karamole Saraswati, Karamadhye tu Govindaha, Prabhate Kara Darshanam. What a beautiful shloka it is to begin the day. On the tip of my hand is Mother Lakshmi. How do we count wealth? Like this. Karamule Saraswati, we hold the book at the base of our hands when we hold a book. Karamadhye tu Govindaha. Wealth and knowledge both must lead us to Govinda. And Govinda is the goal of life. Knowledge is the means Earning wealth is our duty in the society, and use it for doing dhan, etc., and taking care of the family, etc. Just imagine how the day begins so beautifully with this bhav. But today, what is the bhav? Karagre vasate Facebook, karamule to Twitter, karamadhye to Instagram, prabhate phona darshanam. That is our first day, first invocation in the beginning. Then we say, which Shraddha, what Shraddha? Hare Rama. So many methods they have given us to connect to the Lord. When you put the foot on the ground, Samudra Vasane Devi Parvatastana Mandale Vishnu Patni Namastubhyam Padas Parsham Kshamaswame. Mother Earth is bearing us. Every day we trample upon her. We seek her forgiveness. Shraddha develops or not? No, Swamiji, we don't believe in all this. But I'm an environmental activist. Oh, very good. What was this? It was a beautiful prayer to chant, to become sensitive towards the environment, towards the plants, towards the trees, towards the earth. We have Vana Devata, we have Ganga Maya, we have all this. And we are supposed to live in ecologically friendly way. And we can keep evolving. As our knowledge increases, we can become more and more eco-friendly, eco-sensitive. That's the beauty of our culture. So, that taking bath, Gange cha Yamune chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jalesmin Sannidhim Kuru. The simplest mundane acts of the daily life can be easily transformed to develop more Shraddha, to express gratitude, to connect to the divine. Lighting a lamp. No, somebody, today we don't light lamps. And every time we put on a switch, remember Bhagwan, that Bhagwan is manifesting in front of me as Jyoti. Shubham karoti kalyanam. May this light bring auspiciousness in my life. It's a simple thought. Light removes darkness. So when I put on a tube light or a night lamp or any, so many type of lights we have today. When we put on those lights, it is to remove the darkness. It is to connect to light, to brilliance. May my life be like that. Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Beautiful mantras they are. All these will invoke Shraddha. It is up to us how much we want to invoke through the day. Opportunities are unlimited. And please remember, again I am saying, these shlokas are only a means. If you don't know the shlokas, either you can learn them or you can learn at least the essence of this and then live by invoking the bhav. Throughout the day, right from the time I get up, I place my foot on the earth, I go take a bath, I light some lamp, or I study Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupinim Vidyarambam Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Or I go for work, Karmanyevadhikaraste Ma Phaleshu Kadachana. Or I eat food, Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashritaha. Through the day, I can keep remembering. And in the night, seek forgiveness from Bhagwan for all errors of omission, commission. Offer everything to the Lord, saying, Bhagwan, today you gave me a beautiful opportunity. I gathered so many wonderful experiences. I learned many things. Many mistakes also I made. Please forgive me for it. Over. Sleep peacefully. How nice it is. All this will increase our Shraddha or not. We don't have to do some extraordinary things once in a while. Every day we can do things which will improve our Shraddha. One more way to improve Shraddha is to build a personal bond with Bhagwan. Greatest intellectuals of our culture, the most powerful Vedic masters, they have developed bonds with Bhagwan as a personal form. Don't go by this propaganda by a lot of these people. They had a different culture, different background. They were fighting for various things, so they would believe in demolishing idols. It is their context. Let them be fine with their context. But our context is very different. Unfortunately, we are getting carried away thinking, oh, we are not idol worshippers, idol worshippers. Very good. But on the phone, on your DP is the picture of your son. And you look at that picture of your son, and that son is in USA, but you know, when you feel you are missing your son, then you see the picture and you say, oh, my son, what is it? Pixels on the phone. And I'm not an idol worshipper. Is that not an idol? It's a form, no? It's a picture here. My son is to somewhere else only. But that picture is invoking feeling here. Bhagwan is infinite, but to connect to infinite Lord is not easy. When we say infinite, what comes to our mind? Symbol of infinity will come to our mind. In one youngsters camp, I asked, if you think of apple, what comes to your mind? If you think of love, what comes to your mind? Like that, people are asking different things. Then I said, if you think of infinity, what comes to your mind? Immediately one fellow said, Infinity Mall. I had never expected that answer, but it came because that is what the young person is thinking. Infinity Mall, we meet there, we hang out there. So when we say infinity, it is very abstract to relate to something which is infinity. Some image will come in the mind. Even if I say I don't believe in form. So if I develop a bond with a form, and please remember, these forms are not created by human beings, they exist. If Bhagwan can manifest as this whole universe, why he cannot manifest as a form? And historically, people have experienced the darshan of the form or not. Vithala, Pandurang is a historical character. Did he not have darshan of Vitthal Bhagwan? Did Namdev not play with Vitthal Bhagwan? I am giving Vitthal Bhagwan's example because here we are in Maharashtra. Did Ramakrishna Paramahamsa not have darshan of Mother Kali? And was he not one of the greatest saints of the 19th century? How brilliant! Not that he was some illiterate person. In the educational way, he was not very literate, but the saint of the highest order. An intellectual like Vivekananda was touched because of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. He was transformed from Narendra, who was a non-believer in the existence of God and did not believe in the form, to a person who became a saint. Narendra became Swami Vivekananda because of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. All of them had no darshan of form. So when we develop bond with Bhagwan, then Shraddha increases. Please remember, Shraddha cannot increase without a sambandh. Faith cannot increase in Bhagwan without a sambandh. And that's why one form is important to focus on. Not that other forms are unreal. For me, this form is most easy to connect to. That is what it means. Somebody may worship Ganesha, somebody will worship Krishna, somebody will worship Devi, somebody will worship Ardhanarishwara. How does it matter? Each one will worship according to their feeling, their temperament, and connect to Bhagwan and have the Shraddha that Bhagwan exists in this form. And devotees have had darshan, I will also have darshan. So with the Shraddha in the form of Bhagwan, I must do my sadhana. Tulsidas ji had darshan of Bhagwan Ram or not? 14th century I am talking. He had darshan of Bhagwan Ram. Hanumanji helped him to have darshan of Bhagwan Ram. Now if we say, no, all this is story, then we can't believe anything. That is why we will become anchorless. It's not, everything is not story. There are many things which people have experienced, and following those things which those saints have experienced, other people have applied it and they have also experienced that result. So how can we dismiss everything as story? Following what Ramakrishna Paramahamsa experienced, did Vivekananda not experience the truth? He did. Tapovan Maharaj, such a great Vairagi, a great Vedantin, but he used to go every day to Saumyakashi temple in Uttarkashi and offer the Ganga Jal and offer the Bilva Patra and flowers to the Kashi Vishwanath, which is a linga there. These are not people who are blind faith, those who have so-called blind faith. They are highly intellectual people who have studied Upanishads, who have experienced the absolute, infinite, nameless, formless truth, and still they go to the temple. They offer, because they know that Bhagavan manifests as this whole creation. So we should find out which is the form which suits us as per our temperament, and then build one bond. I will say, no, Swamiji, but I don't know which form. Observe yourself. Worshipping which form gives you maximum joy, maximum peace, you are able to connect easily. Think which is the form that comes to your mind first when you have a problem. Whom do you think of first? When you have to think of God in problem situations, which form comes to the mind first? Or which is the most predominant emotion in your mind which needs a relationship? Like for Mirabai, Krishna was a beloved. For Kali, Krishna was, for Ram Krishna, Kali was mother. For Hanumanji, Bhagwan Ram is his master and he is the sevak. So which is the bhav that is predominant in us at this point in time or in our sadhana evolution? Then based on that, we can identify a particular form and then build a particular relationship with that form. And then chant the name of that form as the mantra, because mantra will help to anchor the mind, to give strength, and it is a way to remember Bhagwan. One can remember Bhagwan through shlokas, stutis, stotrams, but mantra, when we keep repeating, the mind becomes single pointed and strong. So develop one form, develop one relationship with the form of the Lord. That will increase our Shraddha. And it is also a fact that in these difficult times is when we need to remember Bhagwan, and it will deepen our faith much more, because in the good times we forget Bhagwan. That's why Mother Kunti, she asked in Bhagavatam, it comes, she asks Bhagwan that please give us pain. In the first canto of Bhagavatam itself it comes. She says, oh Lord, you please give me more pain. Bhagwan says, why? Because she says, in happiness we forget you very easily. It is only in pain that we remember you. So for a devotee, the painful situation actually becomes a means to deepen the faith. So there are all these different ways in which one develops Shraddha. One aspect very important to understand is, one who has Shraddha feels secure, one who has Shraddha has the strength, and one who has Shraddha will also gain the ultimate realization. In the Gita, Bhagavan says, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. The person who has Shraddha will experience the supreme truth. So Shraddha in Bhagavan, Shraddha in the Shastra, Shraddha in oneself, ability to reach the supreme, and Shraddha in the Guru. In all these four, if you have to choose one, which is that one which you will choose?
Shraddha in Guru.
Shraddha in Guru. Okay. Others? Any other?
God.
Shraddha in God. Very good. Anyone else?
Shraddha in Guru again.
Shraddha in Guru again.
Shraddha in self, Guruji. Swamiji.
Shraddha in self. Very good. So it's fine to have Shraddha in any of the four. Ultimately, Shraddha in any one very strongly will lead to the other three. But generally it is said, when we have Shraddha in the Guru, then Shraddha in God, scriptures and in oneself will become more stronger, because many times we doubt ourselves, we doubt existence of God, we doubt whether the scriptures are true. But Guru, when we have Shraddha in, then our Shraddha in the other three, even if it goes down, the Guru helps to bring it back. So Shraddha is very, very powerful.
इवन साथे बात करनी
Read the life of saints. The last point is that read the life of saints, many saints, sages, and you will develop great faith. Because from unbelievable type of background they come, we cannot understand only how they transformed from this to that. And it will give us more hope that, oh, this, if here is a person who was in this situation, but that person could transform to realize this, then there is a lot of hope. Ratnakar can transform to become Valmiki. Angulimal can transform and become a great Buddhist monk. So many examples like that you will find of some of the saints and sages, from what background they come. That's why they say every saint has a past, every sinner has a future. So lives of saints, there's a book also by Swami Shivananji, Lives of Saints, or many others, like Gita Press has also produced Sant Ank in Hindi. Dada Vaswani's mission has also produced Saints for You, volume 1, 2, like that they have produced beautiful books. Read these books. Read another book called How God Came into My Life, that is published by Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. That has examples of all historical characters and who have had Darshana Bhagwan. How God came into my life. All this will increase our Shraddha. So I have spoken till now about how to increase the Shraddha. I am going to just spend 5 minutes on what we should do to ensure that our Shraddha is protected. Because Shraddha is very, very sacred. One should not allow that faith to be shattered. One has to really protect it till we don't realize the truth that Shraddha should be protected. Otherwise, many things can, disturb that Shraddha, and we may even lose it. So first thing is, to protect Shraddha, we have to rise above the physical view of life, that everything which I see alone is real, what I do not see is not real. That is a false notion. That must be overcome. Everything cannot be proved at a physical level. If I want to understand certain things, I have to lift myself to higher levels. And there are spiritual sadhanas to do for that. So one is rise above the physical view of life and develop this subtler perception by thinking on subtler topics like God, space, or even values like love, compassion, humility. Think about these and train the buddhi to think subtler. Second, avoid company of skeptics and atheists for a certain time period. Till our Shraddha is not strong, if we are in company of such people who are non-believers, agnostics, atheists, and sometimes even perverts, then our Shraddha will get affected badly. Once our Shraddha is strong, there is no problem. But till it is not strong, we have to have, a small plant. There is a fence around it to protect it from the cattle. Once it grows into a strong tree, there is no fence required. Same way, our Shraddha, if we are in initial, steps of spirituality, and our Shraddha is not yet strong, then the arguments of many people can hurt us, disturb us, and we start doubting ourselves, our faith. So avoid for some time till the Shraddha becomes strong. Third is give up dry intellectualism and argumentative nature. Nothing wrong in asking questions. Our culture does not say don't ask questions. One of the greatest freedom of our culture is that you can ask question, you can believe, not believe. It's completely up to you. Nobody will enforce anything that this is what it is, you have to believe this. Each one has freedom of their thought. One can ask any number of questions, no problem. All our scriptures have lots of questions that the disciples have asked. But give up the argumentative nature where one is arguing for the sake of arguing. One is not interested in truth. That is called Vitanda, Jalpa and Vitanda, where one does not know the truth, but whatever the opposite person is saying is wrong. Or what I say alone is right, I don't bother about other person. Both these will not allow Shraddha to develop. That's called argumentative nature, we have to drop. Discussion is great. Open-minded discussion is great. That is called Vada. And dry intellectualism, where we say, no, I only believe in God. I don't believe in any ritual. I don't want to do any puja, japa, bhajan, sadhana, nothing. Why? Because God is infinite consciousness. God is in my heart. I just believe in that. No ritual. It's like saying, I believe in reading enough books on swimming, but I will not jump into water. How will you learn swimming, Baba? Without jumping into water. Gita says Brahma Vidya and Yoga Shastra. They both are together. Any science will have pure science, applied science. Same way in spiritual knowledge also. Pure science is the philosophy, applied science is the techniques, the rituals, which we call as yoga. And yoga does not mean the asanas, etc. Yoga means all methods which help us to unite with the Supreme. Covers all the yogas. Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Raja Yoga, all. So what is it that I am doing as a sadhana to strengthen that faith and to connect to that infinite? That is important. Otherwise it will remain only in the head. And then when difficult times come, then we will start questioning which God, what God, because emotion got rattled like anything. But if I have connected to the Lord, my emotion has got anchored. So these are different ways to develop Shraddha, to protect Shraddha. And crisis time is when we can do this much more intensely and get ourselves anchored. So this is where I will stop. Anything you want to ask, share, you are welcome.
Swamiji, I wanted to ask that if I don't know too many mantras, like in Vishnu Shastra, so many names are there. I can never, because I don't know the meaning. Everyone says that mantras are very good, you must do, but I can't concentrate on those mantras. But if I just say my one mantra, like suppose if I say Swami Narayan, Swami Narayan, Swami Narayan, then it goes on. Any one name. But if Vishnu Shastra I read, I don't understand. Nama, 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 I do, but I don't understand. I just imagine Shivji. But do I have to learn that way?
See, it depends on what I want to achieve through that.
Yeah.
Point is, Vishnu Sahasranam is 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu, not Lord Shiva. So when you chant Vishnu Sahasranam, you have to visualize Lord Vishnu. And there are 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. The whole composition by itself is very powerful. It will help not only in invoking devotion, even it can help. Each name is a very powerful pointer to meditate on also. Plus, the chanting by itself creates the karma phala, which is punya karma, which can help to overcome physical challenges, graha dosha, emotional difficulties, many things. The benefits are a lot. Like Mrityunjay mantra has its own set of benefits. Vishnu Sahasranam has its own, Gita chanting has its own. So depending on what I want, I can chant these. And there are meanings available also. So if I can even study and understand, it will help to invoke more bhav, then mind will engage more in this type of sadhana which I do. That is one part. But it is not mandatory that this has to be done. If you feel like doing this for a certain result that you want, then you go ahead and do it, and then do it with the understanding of the meaning. if you are chanting just one name also, that is what we call as japa. So continue to do that also, no problem. It's not that you are missing out anything if you don't do this chanting. For some reason, if you are doing this chanting, then you do it with the understanding, with meaning, you will have more better experience. But if you are just doing the japa continuously, have Shraddha in that also, because ultimately we are invoking the Lord either through this japa or through this stotram chanting. Both ways we are connecting to Bhagwan only. So there is no problem in doing either or doing both. So you're not missing out. So you figure out and do. Sometimes what happens is mind also needs a little change. So from one chanting of the mantra which I am doing, if I chant the stotrams and stutis of that Lord, then the mind has got a wider field to think about. Like Om Namah Shivaya, I may go on chanting as my japa sadhana or in my daily life through my actions. But specifically when I sit down to do, let us say, a puja, then I do the chanting of, let us say, 108 names of Lord Shiva, or we chant the Shiva Panchakshara Stotram or Lingashtakam. Then while chanting that, the mind will imagine the meaning of those things. The mind will create a more, it has a larger field to play in. So that way the mind gets, little more free, because not everybody's mind is able to remain in that single pointer state for a very long time. So depending on what I want, I can do either or both.
Thank you. Okay. Swamiji, I had a question. So supposing I am doing Vishnu Sahasranam, but now when Shravan Mahina comes, when Ganesh Chaturthi comes, I feel like doing Atharva Shirsha, I feel like doing Shankar ka some part, feel like listening to the Shankar Tandav. So that's okay. Is it?
There is no problem. One can always chant stotrams of every other form, but in your daily sadhana, stick to one. Who is that one form? And connect to that form on a daily basis. That one should not leave. This is all extra one can do. Like I do my Om Namah Shivaya and my japa and my meditation, etc. And then Shravan month I worship Lord Shiva. Ganesh Chaturthi we will do Ganeshji's puja also and worship Ganeshji's Sthapana also is done. But Om Namah Shivaya will continue. So Nitya Sadhana one has to be steady in one. And the occasional one, Naimittika, it is based on whatever that festival is, we can worship that form. There is no problem. It's not that we don't have to become rigid and fanatic saying, no, I'm only Shiva worshipper. I will not even look at Ganesha. I will not even look at Krishna. That is not required. As long as I am steadfast in one, that is fine. If some people are not steadfast and they go on oscillating, then it is said, Arey bhai, you stop others for some time till you become steadfast in one. Because otherwise they are never able to decide. Which happens in many other things, no? Somebody is not able to decide which clothes to wear. They take half an hour to decide which clothes to wear, and then they will go on shifting between this or this or this, 3-4 things. Then somebody says, you put aside all that. Now you just focus on this one and you get whatever is required for this one. Then that person is able to decide. It's like that.
Any other questions? If anyone wants any other clarification or questions, or should we go ahead? Thank you so much, Swamiji. That was very good, enlightening about how to have faith in this time. So we have to basically cultivate more Shraddha so that we can go through with this. Shraddha is the only way, and different ways what you do. So now for a few announcements of the upcoming programs of the mission. So I'll be screen sharing with you all. So we have the Paduka Puja Satsang, as you can read, and with Swami Satmanandji on Puja Gurudev Maharaj. That is by the Chinmaya Prakash Zone. And then we have
3rd August. Yeah.
yes, 3rd August. Sorry, that was 3rd August. Then on the same 3rd August, we have a festival program also on the Sadhana Day by my class members. Please do attend. All these will be also be posted on your Devi group chats. Then there is Shravan Somvar, which is starting from 9th August.
That's not shared yet, no? You have to stop this share and show the other one.
Pardon? Swamiji?
That image is not on the screen.
Oh, Shravan Somvar is not on the screen?
No, no. You have only shared one image. You have to stop share for this and go to that.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm sorry, little
Yeah. No, no problem.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is the Shravan Somvar. There on all starting on Mondays from 9th August onwards. Okay.
5 Mondays. Each Monday there is a different sadhana. Timing is the same, 10:30 to 12:30. One day there is Mrityunjay Havan, then there is chanting of various Shiva Stotras. There is a talk by Prachiti ji, then Rudrabhishek I am doing, and talk and meditation on the last Somvar.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to. Why isn't this going, Swamiji? I'm sorry. I'm trying to on. No, I'm sharing the other screenshot, but I don't know. Of the 8G.
You have to open that file, na? It is open in your computer and then you have to share it.
It is open now. 1 minute, yeah. I'm sorry, Swamiji, but I'm lost here. Because
okay, let that be. You will anyway post on the Devi group chat, so it's fine. No issue.
okay. Now I'll try to. So there is 8 dharmas.
No, leave it. That's fine. Leave it.
Got it now. Yeah. Yeah, now I got it. Okay. So there are 8 sessions of the glorious Hindu Dharma for children by Swami Swatmananji. You have to register for this one though.
Yeah, 8G HD BV, that's the link below given there. So each month one session I take for 5 to 8 years and 9 to 12 years. August month we will have on Sri Krishna for 5 to 8 and Great Young Revolutionaries for 9 to 12 years. And this is the registration link at the bottom. You can register your children, grandchildren, pass it on also to anyone. All these are held free, so let them join and understand the glory of our culture. Yeah.
And now we have to have say the pledge, and then followed by the aarti. So everyone needs to close your eyes as Swamiji has instructed and say the pledge.
Everyone put on your videos, please. We will. Whoever is in charge can take the Zoom fee also now only. You are muted, Binaji. We can't hear you.
It is a Zoom selfie command is what? Command Shift and?
I don't know. If you have a Mac, it is Command Shift and hash.
Yes, I have a Mac.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, everyone. I should take up the speaker view, no, Swamiji? Gallery.
Yeah. Gallery view. You have to go to gallery view.
Pragya, unmute yourself and you are saying the pledge, right? Yeah.
Hari Om, Pranam Swamiji.
Hari Om.
We stand as one family, bound to each other with love and respect. We serve as an army, courageous and disciplined. ever ready to fight against all low tendencies and false values within and without us. We live honestly the noble life of sacrifice and service, producing more than what we consume and giving more than what we give.
we give. We seek the Lord's grace.
Yeah, go ahead.
To the world around us. Service of our Lords and
We
devotion.
seek the Lord's grace to keep us on the path of virtue, courage, and wisdom.
We know our responsibilities. Give us the ability and courage to fulfill them.
Om Tat Sat.
Taking a
Vinay?
selfie, guys. Just everyone smile. Okay. Okay. Aarti, Trupti ji.
We're just lighting the aarti. Just
Okay.
आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की दिव्य रूप मूर्ति करुणा की आरती सद्गुरु की चरणों में उनके शांति समाए शरणागत की भ्रांति मिटाए पाप ताप संताप हरण की आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की आरती सद्गुरु की वेद उपनिषद गीता को गाया धर्म सनातन फिर से जगाया शुद्ध नीति प्रीति शंकर की आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की आरती सद्गुरु की सिद्धबाड़ी की तपोभूमि में नित्य विराजे गुरु हमारे भक्त हृदय आनंद स्तोत्र की आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की आरती सद्गुरु की आरती सद्गुरु की
सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय.
Swamiji, one of the class members has very nicely prepared Naivedyam also. And
Arre vah. Very nice. What have you made?
Kheer.
Kheer. Oh,
Yes.
good, good.
Surita Mehra has made kheer.
Very nice.
We managed to give the prasad to people who are here.
Yes, you enjoy on behalf of all of us. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Yes, who is doing the concluding prayers can go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nina, will
Yeah.
you unmute and do the concluding prayers?
Yeah. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Sarve santu niramayah. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kaschit dukh bhag bhavet. Om asato ma sadgamaya. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Mrityorma amrutam gamaya. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम
हरि ओम
हरि ओम